Hey guys, we're in the shop doing some maintenance on our Yamaha RMAX, and today we're going to show you how to take care of the air filters on this machine. So you actually have two air filters. You've got your primary filter and your secondary. Primary is foam, and you're going to service that more often, so that's going to be 200 to 400 miles. And then the secondary, you want to take a look at that at least every time you change your oil. So that's going to be between 1,200 and 3,200 miles, and at least get that replaced every other oil change. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. To get this done, you need some air filter oil and cleaner. We've got a lot of options on our website along with different filters. Now, I like to run a spare filter and just rotate the filters out when I'm inspecting it. That way I don't have to wait for the one I'm cleaning to dry. Now, this one is the secondary filter. We aren't going to replace ours today. We don't have enough miles on our machine yet, but you can find this one under the OEM diagrams. To remove the hood, we're going to lift up on these two tabs. You're going to rotate them 90 degrees, and then there's 4 tabs under here that hold the hood on. We just need to pop those up, and then the hood is going to slide forward. So right here we have the airbox lid. We're going to pop the 4 clips off of it, and they're kind of stiff, so I'm just using a screwdriver. And then we'll remove the lid. So right here we have the primary filter. I'm just going to pull up on that and remove it. And then, like I mentioned, we don't have enough miles to really worry about changing that secondary filter, but I'm going to remove it and then we're going to inspect it anyway. And to get that out, we just have 4 screws, 1 in each corner. I've got a number 2 Phillips. So to inspect that secondary filter, I'm just going to take a look at this for any visible signs of damage. You don't want any tears. And if this thing is packed with dirt, obviously you need to replace it. But if you're not quite sure, one thing you can do is hold it up to the light. Now, the third thing you want to look out for is if there's any oil contamination on the paper. If you've got oil on there, you definitely want to get it replaced, because this paper should be dry, and it needs to be dry to breathe correctly. So you can see our air filter is actually pretty clean. We've been riding out front, but even if you are, usually there's going to be a ton of dirt on here. This has just been serviced recently, but we're going to show you how to do the process anyway. So with this, first thing you want to do is remove this cover off the top, then remove the foam. We're just going to work this off evenly. It's kind of a tight fit. You can see that oil's been on there for a while. It's kind of settled. Now that we have that air filter off, it's time to dip it in the cleaner. I'm going to let that soak, and I'm going to go ahead and prep the new air filter while the old one soaks. So you can see we've got a ton of goop on our cage. I'm going to clean that off, and we actually have this airbox cleaner that's going to do great. We'll wipe out the airbox at the same time. All right, so now it's time to oil up the new filter. This one actually came with some gloves, kind of cool. And we've got this FFT. This stuff is awesome. It's super liquidy to begin with, and then it just kind of tacks up. Okay, so once we have the filter completely saturated in oil, I'm going to wring it out. And the nice thing about this FFT, it's almost like water to start out with, so it's easy to wring out, and you just want to make sure you get out as much as you can. As soon as it starts dripping, you're good, and the remaining oil is going to tack up. Just kind of work it in one more time to make sure it's evenly coated, and then let it sit for about 15 minutes. So now that we have that filter prepped, sat for a minute, we're going to go ahead and install this back onto the filter cage. You've got to make sure the logo is facing out, right? So I'm just going to press that all the way down in here. Should be square at the top when you've done it right. So with that in there, I'm gonna put the lid on, make sure all the sides are tucked in. Then we've got two spots on the lid where this is actually gonna clip into place and hold everything together. So we're good to go. We're taking this back over to the machine. So now I'm gonna install that secondary filter, reinstall those 4 screws. We've already wiped down this air box. You just want to make sure you don't get any dirt down the intake tube. Now we did use a little bit of cleaner on the sealing surface right here as well. It's all dried up, so I'm just putting a little oil on there. Some people like to use a little bit of grease as well. This is going to help it seal a little better. Now we're going to set the air filter in place and install our lid and make sure all 4 clips are latched on all the way. Now we can reinstall the hood. Just make sure you have the tabs in the front lined up, and then you've got the 4 tabs that stick down. Once you have those lined up with the rubber grommets, you can press them down, and then we have the 2 latches at the top. So that's it for the air filters on the Yamaha RMAX. If you have any questions, leave those down in the comments below. And if you need any parts for your RMAX, you can find those on our website. Just click the link in the description below. And as always, if you want to see more helpful content like this, subscribe to our channel. I'm Charles with Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Thanks for watching.